know you can see somebody doing something and that rubs off on you, but it's like, well, if you're not gonna put in the work that person is doing, because a lot of times we'll be like, well, I can do what that person's doing. Yeah, but can you stay consistent like that person's doing? That's the difference.
Right.
We know you're talented. You know, you're talented.
Yeah.
But talented is not gonna beat hard work.
Boom.
You know what I mean? So if you're consistent and you putting in hard work, it don't matter if you're more talented than this person, because they're going the extra mile that you're not going.
I'm thinking them wealthy thoughts, baby.
Everything about you.
What's up, everybody? We're back again with another episode of Wealthy Thoughts. I'm here again with my boy, my co-host.
What's up, y'all? Steve James.
Man, I want to get straight into it today, man. I want to talk about what are the barriers to consistency. What breaks our consistency? Why is it that once we know what to do as entrepreneurs, we get all the gems, we get all the tips, we get all the tools, we still have so much trouble executing it consistently?
Yeah.
Not the execution for that one time, but that execution over and over and over again. Tell us why, man. Give us the gems. Why is it so hard for us to be consistent?
Man, this is a very crucial topic because I struggle with consistency.
Me too.
And I think the reason that most struggle with consistency is we don't allow ourselves to grow long enough. And when I say that, I mean, it's easy to start something and then you kind of just fall off because it's like, oh, maybe I'm not getting the instant gratification that I need to keep going. And I think sometimes we can get caught up in that noise where it's like, man, I've been putting this out. Like even when we started the podcast, we don't have that many views right now.
No,
we're not. It's not to the point where it's like we know that the content is there.
It's our wife and our grandmas watching it right now.
Church groups, Vacation Bible School. This is fun. No, I'm just saying, just in general, like you can see it's just a matter of keep doing it, keep doing it. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Because
even when you don't see it.
Yeah, because the minute we can't even get caught up in that. Like, I think that's the biggest thing. You have to strip that likes and reshares and all of that, because eventually all of that's going to come.
Yeah.
But the only way you're going to be able to see that is by staying consistent, by continuing to post, by continuing to create content, by continuing to hone in on the craft, because I think that's the biggest thing. It's like if you don't continue to do the reps, then it's like, I don't think this is gonna work.
Yeah,
and that's just because you didn't put up the shots.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's just like whatever it is. We're podcasting right now. We're in the gym. Like this is our practice.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. We're practicing on our shot. We're practicing on the rapport of us going back and forth, interviewing, like that takes time. And the only way you're going to be able to see that is by staying consistent. And I think that if we strip all of that away, all of the likes and we need this many subscribers to start monetizing, if we just keep doing it, eventually it's gonna come. But I think that
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think that's
and that's just one thing.
Yeah.
It's a discipline that comes with staying consistent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I agree with you, and I think that the difficulty for us, for me, for everyone, with anything, whether it's podcasting or your clothing line or your book or your Airbnb or your real estate deals or investing in stocks, I think the one thing, in addition to the instant gratification or not seeing that, and that discouraging you and making you stop. In addition to that, I think it's another thing when you don't have, you know, I guess a real plan,
Yeah.
and that you think you haven't thought long enough beyond the start.
Mm-hmm.
And so you thinking that, yeah, this is gonna do this. This is gonna create these many views, or this is gonna create some sales. But what happens when you create your brand, you create your T-shirt, and you don't get no sales?
Right.
And that will make you stop. There's like, why would I be consistent on something and ain't nobody buying it?
Yeah, it's discouraging.
Yeah, it's discouraging. And like discouragement is a killer to consistency.
For sure.
Like, I'm discouraged. I'm not doing that today.
Yeah. No, that's a huge bar. I think that the benefit of staying consistent is you allow yourself to get into rhythm. And when you're in rhythm, it's like, oh, this is his second nature now. It's like we have to, you know, I'm just rolling with all of that. Like no matter what, I'm pushing through. And I think that requires a laser focused mentality.
Like you used to wrestle, right? So how long did it take you where you feel like it's a rhythm now, or it's a, what do they used to call that, muscle memory?
Oh, well, I mean,
because you grew up doing that, right?
Yeah, I started so early.
What's so early?
5.
5 years old, you was doing wrestling?
at
Wow.
5. Yeah, so because I come from that background, like my dad wrestled, my family wrestled,
your uncles, all that.
So for me, you know, at 5 years old, you starting at 5. Like once you get, you know, a lot of people don't start sports until late.
15, 13,
you know what I mean?
12.
High school, middle school, like to really compete at a higher level, you have to start early. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some freak of nature athletes that, you know, can pick up a basketball in high school and become a dog.
Right.
That's very rare.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, you have to, you know, start early.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To get ahead of that curve. But I mean, I think with wrestling it's just a different beast. I think my muscle memory, like when everything just came natural, was, you know, really high school.
So it takes that's 10 years maybe.
For sure.
10 years at least.
Yeah.
So
over 10,000 hours.
Over 10,000 hours for sure.
Easy.
So if you don't have the plan from the outset of this is going to take 10 years. Like if we sitting here doing this podcast and we're not thinking 10 years. We ain't had no conversation about 2034 yet.
Right.
So maybe that would help if people really knew from the outset, this takes about 10 years.
Yeah.
Like when you look at a Kevin Hart's career, you know, you think about in high school, didn't nobody know about Kevin Hart for real.
Right.
You know, in high school. But by 2014, I think we all pretty much knew about him. I feel like it was a few years after Bron got in the league. So Bron was in the league in probably 04. So you talking about maybe 08, you hear about Kevin Hart. 10 years later, 2018, you definitely know about him. Now, so this is, he's coming up on probably 14, 15 years of doing this.
Yeah.
But maybe if we could really tell ourselves from the beginning, this is going to take 15 years. It's going to take 10 years. Do you think that would help us be like, we barely got started?
Yeah. I mean, I think podcasting and just this type of space is fairly new. You know what I mean? So there's people that, you know, this is a new space for a lot of people. Like podcasting wasn't as big as it
Definitely
is
not.
now. You know what I mean? Everyone's starting a podcast. So, and it's not too late to start a podcast because people are still cracking that, you know, how to get in, how to monetize.
Yep.
So, you know, I think that the biggest thing with podcasting is, you know, you can plan for 10 years. You don't know if podcasting, we don't know at that 10-year mark. It may come to now it's, you know, you're doing it digitally.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think that part is hard to really plan ahead compared to being an athlete, because it's like being an athlete and being young, you know what you have to look forward to.
Mm-hmm.
You know sports and stuff is not going away.
Right.
You know, podcasting, it may be a shift in 5 years where
Right.
people are doing something different. So I think the main thing with that is just keep putting up the shots.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Focusing on each day, getting better each day, and allowing yourself to adapt to change.
Yeah.
Because that's really the biggest part that people have trouble with. It's like, oh, podcast. I'm like, when before podcast, it was like, oh, I can't see myself getting in front of the camera. Not saying us, but people are like that. Like getting in front of the camera and talking about, people couldn't even see that.
Right. Like,
But
why?
now it's like, that's the thing to do. People in their living room, just whatever, camera in front of them, like
just going.
it doesn't matter how you do it. Now, we're blessed to be able to have this, you know, warehouse, to be able to have this nice setup, nice cameras. Like, we invested in that. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So it's about how bad do you want it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like that goes with being an athlete all the way into business. How bad do you want this business to work? Because if you want this business to work, you're going to constantly focus on tuning it, fine-tuning it, making it better, changes, you know, just tweaking it to make it fit the mode of what you're trying to do.
Yeah. And I feel like, you know, we get overwhelmed a lot. And maybe serial entrepreneurs get overwhelmed. And that
Definitely.
breaks our consistency.
Definitely.
Because you don't imagine that, especially when life starts happening different, which is really happening different for everyone.
Yeah.
But, you know, because in your 20s, you're trying to get established. In your 30s, you are established, you know, or not. But then you got the family aspect. We getting closer to the 40 range. And it's like, okay, you got families and these things keep changing.
Yeah.
And it can become overwhelming. So it's like I started my podcast, but now I got 2 boys to raise.
Yeah.
Or now I got an aging parent
Right.
that I got to take care of.
Yeah.
Or now I got, you know, a new position at my job. And so I think what's really difficult for consistency is when you get overwhelmed. And it's like, I don't know what the solve for that is right now, but I think that hurts us in our consistency because it's like, man, I was going to keep doing that.
For sure.
You know, but I'm overwhelmed. I got too much going on now.
Yep. And I think that it's okay to be overwhelmed. You know what I mean? It's that uncomfortable situation where you know that this is a priority. And I think that's the biggest thing. Your family is going to come first.
Yep.
But in order to navigate that, you have to, if the podcast thing is, you have to set up a schedule. Okay, from if I have to get up at get the kids dressed at 7 a.m., get them to school, and I know I only have an hour, 2 hour gap to shoot my podcast or to record my music or whatever it is, you have to be able to schedule that out.
Yeah. How good are y'all with that in real life? Or how good are you
Scheduling?
and Bree with y'all just life schedule now? Y'all done went through a lot of changes.
Yeah, well, I mean,
How tight are y'all in y'all schedule? On a scale of 1 to 10.
I think we have a good scheduling down now just because we know it's different because we're taking them to daycare. They're there from, you know, 8 a.m. Yeah, 8 a.m. to 5:30.
Yeah.
So that in between time, I know that this is the time that I have to get stuff done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I want this to be the time. Like I want to set my schedule where I know from 8 to 5:30 is business. After 5:30 to whenever is family time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that, and I learned that from a producer friend of mine. His name was Lee. He produced Music Soul Child's Love, and he was really family oriented, God fearing man. He actually stopped doing music to become a preacher.
Oh wow.
But he gave me that. He was like, bro, this is the time, like from 8 to 5. This is when I record.
Yeah.
After that, I'm going home to my family.
Yeah.
Like he treated it like a job, and I'm like, dang, that's so dope because you're allowing yourself to put yourself on a tight schedule where I know where I have to get things done in this time slot.
Yeah.
And then after that, This is dedicated to family. And I'm not working on Sunday.
Right.
So you have me Monday through Friday.
Period.
The weekend is family, and after 5:30, 6 o'clock, I'm family.
And what I like about that is, you know, as it relates to consistency, you can kind of be always on and, you know, hustle, work, da. But you're gonna lose balance.
Yeah, for sure.
Your kids, your wife is gonna suffer if you don't get on a schedule.
Yeah.
And I think hopefully as we get older, as we get the kind of wisdom that Lee has, is that you decide at some point what's priority, and you just this is my schedule.
Yep.
This is when I do stuff, and it's like the world isn't set up 8 to 5 or 9 to 5 for no reason.
Right.
It's set up like that because if all the entrepreneurs went as hard as they possibly wanted to, yeah, they'd succeed. But something's got to give.
Something's got to give.
You're not gonna be able to have no strong family, and you just go. Like no, bro.
And I there's nothing wrong with it. Now that I see that, because I didn't have a family at that point. This is when I first moved to LA. I mean him, he's like, this is, you know, he had a young family. And someone that's in the music industry that knows that it's a worldly, you know what I mean? It's a dark game.
Yeah.
He knows this.
Yeah.
He knows that, you know, his passion is just music. But at the end of the day, my family, this is the time when I'm doing it. Man, that really like changed it for me. So now seeing that, you know, being a dad now, it's like, oh, okay, you really have to schedule things out. You know
Time
what I mean?
management.
Time management is
Huge.
very crucial. And we're still working on that. You know, it's a different process now.
Yeah. It's a daily thing.
And I don't think you don't master it.
You
so
don't
early.
arrive. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we're still in a early phase. We still have young children. So it's like everything. I can't even imagine when sports starts.
No, for sure.
That's when it's like, oh, you know, hopefully they get okay. We're gonna try to be on the same team. So.
Right.
Imagine having 3 and you got 3 different events to go through.
No,
You're
sir.
outnumbered.
Yeah, you're outnumbered.
It's like, okay, well, where we gonna go?
Well, I like, you know, I was in Dr. Darius's program, and one thing I appreciated he talked about was an ideal week. Like, it's not always going to be ideal, but you need to at least have a picture of what does an ideal week look like or an ideal month.
Yeah.
For us, we got to figure out, okay, we got a lot going on. How do we ideally get together, still be able to record and do everything else we got to do?
Yeah.
If we set that as an expectation, to your point, at some point it becomes a priority.
Yep.
At some point, everyone around us starts to learn, oh no,
We have to prioritize
I have to
this
do
time.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
No. This happens every month, or this happens every week, or this, you know, and it becomes a thing where people. So I think he's helped me, but you know, before we get out and let people go, I want to talk a little bit about this. This guy James Clear wrote a book, and this is a good book. I got to start telling people more about books because I've read a lot of books.
We need a book club segment.
We do need to do a book club
That'd
segment.
be dope.
Because, you know, I heard Mike Murdoch say this, and he says you only change in life from the people you meet and the books you read. And basically, when you're reading a book, essentially you're meeting that person without meeting them face to face. So that's the only the way people really change: new information, new perspectives. So James Clear has this book called Atomic Habits. Right. And I recently signed up for this thing, Masterclass. Have you seen that? And they stalked you with ads and stuff.
But what's the masterclass?
Well,
With him.
I'm talking about this though. Have you seen this app where it's like Masterclass?
Yeah, like Dr. Dre and all of them.
All
doing
that?
it? Yeah.
So they was stalking me with ads, and they got me. At some point I gave in, like, all right, I'm signing up. And so I signed up for it, and he's got this masterclass, and I got some notes on here. One thing that I really liked that he talked about was 4 laws of behavior change, and I want your opinion on these. So the number one thing he says is make it obvious. So he says in order to change your behavior, right, if you're not consistent, if you're inconsistent and you want to change that, he says design your environment to make cues for desired habits visible. So I think what he means by this is that, you know, when you, like, we may not think about this, but when you see a fridge in your house, you know, you already know that, like, food is supposed to go in there.
Right.
So when you walk by it, a habit you have is putting food in there. because there's a fridge there.
Right.
So it becomes very obvious to you that, well, I need to fill it. Most people's houses, unless you're, struggling financially, but even if you're struggling financially, you still feel an urge. We need to go get some groceries.
Right.
We need to put something in here.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't have fridges and they're empty.
Right.
They have fridges and they put stuff inside those fridges because a refrigerator is a visible cue. It's very obvious of what habit I need to have with this fridge. I need to fill it with food. I need to fill it with drinks. I need to fill it. And so what do you think about that?
I mean, that analogy is crazy because a fridge is like a person. I need to fill my mind with positive thoughts. I need to fill my mind with affirmations of this. So I like that. That was crazy that you even fridge is like a person.
Yeah.
You need to feed your soul with positivity.
And so apparently, like, if you do things and you make it obvious, it's going to help you develop this habit. So the second thing he says is make it attractive. So he says, and he probably explains this a lot better than I will, but so look him up on your own. But he says use temptation bundling and social reinforcement to make habits appealing. So I don't understand the temptation bundling, but I do understand the social reinforcement. Meaning, like, if you and me and 3 other people are all talking about business and starting businesses, it becomes very attractive to start a business. Because now it's like, okay, everybody around me, my social circle is like, well, I started this, I started that. Da, da, da. So
Rubs off.
it starts to rub off.
And it's just a natural reaction. If you have, if you're around a bunch of millionaires that's having millionaire type of dialogue, it's like, oh, I have to change the way I'm even thinking. I have to change my conversations that I'm having with people.
Absolutely.
And it literally rubs off. And I know that I'm a prime example of it. Entrepreneurship rubbed off on me. You know what I mean? It was just like, oh, I'm being around these like-minded people. And it's not even like-minded at the time because I'm not like-minded.
Right.
I'm just like, oh, I'm intrigued by that type of energy, that type of like, oh, you getting it on your own. You're your own boss. I think that's the biggest, that's just the biggest flex that you can have when you know that you're around other people that have figured it out. It's like, oh, that's dope. You figured out how to master this thing, or you're figuring it out how to master it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you're in it. You're in that space. So people that's in that space, it's just a natural thing for that to rub off on you. It's like,
and
oh,
all of a
this
sudden
is
it's
crazy.
just it's drawing you like, and like, so that, like, if you, and this is probably the same with consistent people, if you start getting around people that are consistent, or they push consistency, or they're really about scheduling, oh no, like, we need to have a schedule, like you talking about with Lee, you learn from him, like, you literally can learn stuff from other people. Like, and so the opposite is true too. So if you're around a lot of inconsistent people, either 2 things got to happen. They either have to start looking to change their behavior and want to be rubbed off on, or if they're resistant, you've got to kind of create some distance there. Like if you, because that goes to his next point, which is make it easy. So his next point is make it easy, simplify habits to reduce friction, making them easier to start and maintain. So like a person that's inconsistent in your circle will basically cause friction. Because it's like you trying to be consistent, but you got somebody else that's like, they don't want to do nothing on a schedule. They don't want to do nothing on time. They more like, oh, just kick the bobos. And that's the tough thing. It's like, it's not that you want to distance yourself from people or not have certain friends, but when you move to different stages in your life, sometimes people don't realize you're causing me a lot of friction. You can't just call me anytime. Actually, in the evening, around this time, I have dinner with my family. Like, so whether you realize it or not, you're causing friction to the consistency of my day.
It's just like deciding to get on the healthy track, and your significant other or whoever, if you live with someone, you're trying to, cut out sweets and all that, but they're ordering cookies.
Sweets is right here.
You know what I mean? It's like you have access to the stuff that's bad for you that you're trying to take out of your life. It's always going to be friction.
Yeah.
Because now our healthy lifestyle is, I want to do this, but you want to do that. You know what I mean? So that can cause friction, because then it's like, man, I'm getting temptation just from seeing this thing.
Yeah.
You know, seeing these sweets. Like, oh, I know I'm hungry, but if I can't see no chocolate chip cookies in the pantry, then cool, I'm gonna stray away from it.
Exactly.
But if I go in there and there's a whole bunch of options, I'm gonna be tempted to
And
try some of them sweets, or let me just get a little taste, and the next thing you know, you're
right
backsliding.
You're
in your
backsliding,
healthy fitness
with a crumb,
with the crumb.
hands full of cookie crumbs. The Cookie Monster, man. And I think the thing about that is, this is always true, and this is a bar. Your environment will change you before you change it every time. Your environment will change you before you change it. So if you find yourself always getting angry, it's like, wait a minute, are you really that angry? Or are you an environment where like anger is like
amongst you
and like you know, what do you call it? Almost like put on a pedestal, or because you know, I wrote a post about this recently. Like in the streets, the person that gets angry and is the toughest is like the most respected. But in business, the person that gets angry and gets emotional is the least respected. It's like, if you can't control your emotions in business, you don't even need to be in this room.
Yeah, it's over.
But in a certain environment, it's like, oh, he's tough.
Yeah.
Don't mess with him.
Yep.
He'll snap on you. He'll go off. Oh, yeah. And they're like, even like, I don't know if I know you've probably been in these environments, because I think it's very familiar for Black people to grow up in these type of environments where it's like, all right,
what you trying to do?
right, and that gets respect.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, oh, he'll go off.
Yeah, he's about it.
He about that.
Yeah,
you know, about it. You know, about it.
That's crazy.
Master P.
We're gonna cut that one out.
This is like, that's like 93,
But no, that's
94.
that's it. Like, oh yeah, we know this guy from being, he is rowdy.
Yeah.
Rowdy.
Right. But when you get into a business setting, all that rowdy rah-rah is bad.
They're like, no, you can't be in this room.
Right.
It's the total opposite.
You can't control your emotions.
Yeah.
If you get emotional in a business room,
yeah, it's over.
it's like, what's wrong with this guy?
Yeah, it's over.
You know, it's
Stick a
over.
fork in
Yeah.
it.
So you have to make it easy for yourself, and reducing that friction. The right environment sometimes will reduce that, to your point, like the cookies example. And then the last thing he says, again, we're talking about the 4 laws of behavior change. He says, make it satisfying. So provide immediate rewards to reinforce the habit. So I think one, if I understood him correctly on this, let's go back to the cookies. Let's say you are trying to get in good shape. Okay, maybe you want to still have cookies, but maybe you tell yourself, all right, I'm going to do 5 laps around the neighborhood. I'm going to do 20,000 steps, and then I'll come back and have a cookie.
Yeah.
Like
some type of reward for being consistent.
Right.
Yeah.
I've been consistent, and now I'm going, and then
I'm going to treat myself to this thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's crucial. That's crucial.
So you think that's a good advice?
Yeah.
All right, James Clear, you have the stamp. Steve James has said that he likes what you're talking about. So
I like those 4. Really, the refrigerator thing was, be careful what you feed your mind with.
exactly. Make it up. So again, just to review them. So we talking about consistency, what breaks our consistency, but let's try to flip it. So if you're trying to be consistent, make it obvious that you need it. Make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. So how can it become more obvious that I need to be consistent? Whether if it's your business, put that thing up big in your room. If it's your brand, get it somewhere where you can see it. Like, no, this is serious.
Yeah.
I got to see this. It has to be obvious. I can't just, crumble this up on a piece of paper and throw it away like it's nothing. Right. I have to really make it obvious to myself that this needs my attention. And then make it attractive, I think, is, finding ways to get around other people that are doing that, where there's a temptation to, all right, I want to keep my brand popping because That's the circle I'm in now.
For sure.
You know, I've got different. I'm a serial entrepreneur now. I want to get around like-minded people, which is one of the good things about some of these groups and coaches and communities you can get involved with, these masterminds, is that it's kind of like the school. Even if you don't get nothing from the information, and we've talked about that, you got to be careful about getting scammed and all that. But even if you don't get nothing from that, you got to get something from the relationships.
Yeah. Yep.
And because it's going to make it more attractive. Like, okay, all these people in this room is about entrepreneurship. They about other streams of income.
Yep.
So it becomes more attractive to you. They're about consistency.
Yeah.
So now the more I'm around them, the more I find myself trying to be more consistent.
Relationships and resources. I think that part of figuring it out is crucial, because it's like, oh, I know you can see somebody doing something and that rubs off on you, but it's like, well, if you're not going to put in the work that person is doing, because a lot of times we'll be like, well, I can do what that person's doing. Yeah, but can you stay consistent like that person's doing? That's the difference.
Right.
We know you're talented. You know, you're talented.
Yeah.
But talented is not going to beat hard work.
Boom.
You know what I mean? So if you're consistent and you putting in hard work, it don't matter if you're more talented than this person, because they're going the extra mile that you're not going.
Exactly.
So it's just got to rub off on you.
Yeah,
it's got to be in you, not on you.
It's got to be.
Is that?
Yeah, it's got to be in you, I think. Yeah, not on you.
Not on you. Yeah.
I know that sound hard.
Yeah, it sounded
sound good. But John Maxwell has a book called Talent is Never Enough. And it goes to your point. It's hard work is going to beat that talent. There's people that can
everyone's
hoop.
talent, yeah.
And they not in the league.
Yeah.
Because there's a different level to the work you got to. And another thing, when we see stuff, we think we can do it. But to your point, we have no idea what's behind.
Yeah.
We think we can make the meal that's out in the dining room, but we have no idea what's happening in the kitchen.
Yep.
Like, do you know that they done brought that fish from Japan over here? They done spent millions of dollars to bring containers. They done made sure it was cold. They done, kept it this, da-da-da. So you could go down a litany of things that have happened. And it's like, oh, and then they're doing that consistently. And they're doing that over and over. So you looking at the wrong thing. Yeah, you can probably make the meal one time.
Right.
But one time ain't gonna get it done. Yeah. They are where they are at because they do it over and over and over and over again. Yeah. And if you get around people like that long enough and really get behind the scenes with them, not just on the surface, oh, this is how, you're getting up at 7:30 every day.
Every day, yeah.
Oh, and even the resting. You're taking Sundays off and you're really resting and recharging
to jumpstart the week.
Yeah, because some of us are thinking, oh, we just gonna work forever. No, the fact that you're not taking a break and not resting is probably a big reason that you can't stay consistent. It's because you're not finding no time. Eventually, bro, even on a NASCAR racetrack, you got to make a pit stop.
Yep.
You got to refuel at some point. So how are you getting more fuel? So anyway, the
time management.
Again, the third point is make it easy. And I don't think it's necessarily ever easy to become consistent, but I think his point here is what friction is between you and the thing. And another example with this is, let's say you trying to wake up at the same time every day and your phone is super close to you so you can easily hit the snooze. Well, you do that. So that's friction. And if you know you do that, you got to set that phone far away where you have to get up to go turn it off. And now you're up.
Yeah, you're up.
Now, all of a sudden, you've reversed engineered your own self to make it easier for yourself to get up.
Yeah.
Because I know if the snooze is close to me, I'm pressing it. It's over. Or if I, because I'm a person that if I know I got to do something, I can get up.
Right. Not
but
everybody can do that.
Yeah, but there are other people that, or I know I'm also the type of person that if I ain't got to do anything, all right, I'm gonna sleep in a little bit. But I'm trying to get to the point, to your point, where it's like, okay, I have more demands on me. I have to be the type of person that can get up, do his day. I can't, this is no longer a thing where I could, just work from home and lollygag and get to it and
yeah, it's different.
No.
It's different.
There's other people involved now. There's other people depending on us now. It's like we gotta be on it, from family to workers to everything. And then I think the last thing is make it satisfying. When you start to see the results, then it will reinforce you to okay, let's do it again, because we are seeing results. And it's like, you know, going back to the podcast. All right, we got some downloads this week. We've been doing this for over a year. We didn't even have the podcast downloadable thing up.
Right.
But the fact that we got some, okay, maybe the time and extra effort we're putting in to sit here and talk and, you know, share what we think is good information. Okay, maybe it's a little satisfying to see somebody's benefiting from that.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny. My mom, this is off tangent, but my mom was one of her daycare people was like, do you have a son that does it's like on YouTube or something? And she's like, yeah, he has a podcast. And Brianna was happened to walk in. She was like, yeah, Wealthy Thoughts podcast. And he's like, yeah, he's talking about like, so people see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and this is a random, not like, hey, go watch this. This is a random person who it popped up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the only way you even see that is by staying consistent.
Yeah.
Is by constantly posting, because you just never know who's watching.
Yeah.
And people are watching. It's just, and that's when it goes to that instant gratification. It's like, don't get caught up in that, because people are watching.
Right. Even if you don't realize it, even if
the views and all of that,
the likes ain't there,
even if all of that don't align, they're watching.
Right.
And as long as you're touching one person, you know what I mean? If you're getting one subscriber, that's better than nothing.
And you know, that's another good point, because we could be playing right now in a barbershop and there could be 20 people watching us at the same time. That's probably only going to count as one view.
Right.
So that's another interesting thing too. That even though it looks like it is only one view, it might be that one view might have been 200 people.
Right.
So that's just another thought, but that's satisfying to hear that feedback.
Yeah.
And hopefully that helps us.
And I meant to tell you that too, because my mom, she told me that yesterday.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah,
it is. That's a little encouragement. And so as an entrepreneur, that's what you got to look for, little things to help you keep going.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yes, sir. Stay consistent, baby.
Until next time, it's your boy StephenMotivate.
Steve James.
Peace. I'm thinking them wealthy thoughts, baby.
Everything